The year was 1929. The air in southeastern Nigeria was thick, not just with the dry Harmattan dust, but with a growing unease. This was a land under British colonial rule, a system that had imposed its own ways, its own laws, and its own men in positions of power. The British did not understand the people they governed, especially not the women. They saw a society through their own narrow lens, and in doing so, they overlooked the intricate and powerful systems that had existed for centuries. In the towns and villages of the Igbo and Ibibio people, life was changing, but not always for the better. The colonial administrators, distant and disconnected, made decisions in their grand offices that would ripple through the lives of ordinary people in the most profound ways. In this world were the Igbo and Ibibio women. These were not women who were silent or invisible in their communities. They were farmers, traders, mothers, and leaders. They held significant power within their own traditional structures, controlling the local markets and holding deep spiritual authority. The British, however, failed to see this. They saw only men as leaders, and so they appointed warrant chiefs, local men who were given authority by the colonial government, often against the will of the people they were meant to lead. These warrant chiefs, empowered by a foreign authority, often became corrupt. They abused their power, enriching themselves at the expense of their own people. They were not accountable to the community, but to the British district officers who had appointed them. The women, who managed the household finances and felt the economic pressures most keenly, watched this new order with growing alarm. The tension simmered beneath the surface of daily life, in the quiet conversations at the market stalls and the worried discussions in the evening by the fire. The colonial government, blinded by its own sense of superiority, was oblivious to the storm that was gathering. A rumor, a small spark, was all that was needed to ignite the dry tinder of discontent into a blazing fire of resistance that would shake the very foundations of colonial power in Nigeria. The spark finally came in the form of a rumor about taxes. The colonial government had already imposed taxes on the men, a move that was deeply unpopular and had caused significant hardship. But now, whispers spread like wildfire through the markets and villages that the British were planning to tax the women as well. In the town of Oloko, a woman named Nwanyerua was confronted by a census enumerator. When he insisted on counting her household, she responded with righteous fury. "Was your widowed mother counted?" she demanded, a question that was both a personal affront and a powerful political statement. Her defiance was the signal. The news of her stand spread quickly from one woman to another, passed along the intricate networks of communication that connected the villages. They sent palm leaves, a traditional symbol of invitation and summons, to women in neighboring towns and villages. Thousands of women responded to the call, leaving their homes, their farms, and their market stalls to join the growing movement. They marched together from Oloko to Aba to Owerri and beyond, their numbers swelling with each passing day. They were not a faceless mob, they were a disciplined army of matriarchs, armed with songs of protest and an unshakable determination. The colonial government, which had dismissed them as insignificant, was about to learn a powerful lesson about the strength of Nigerian women. The women's protest took a form that was deeply rooted in Igbo culture, sitting on a man. This was not a passive act of sitting down, but a powerful and dynamic form of public shaming and protest reserved for men who had committed serious offenses against the community. Thousands of women marched to the offices and homes of the warrant chiefs, their protest songs filling the air. They waved sticks and chanted slogans, demanding the end of the proposed tax and the removal of the corrupt chiefs. They surrounded the colonial district offices, their sheer numbers creating a formidable blockade. The colonial officials were completely bewildered. They had no frame of reference for this kind of protest. They saw the women's actions not as a legitimate political expression, but as a hysterical, uncontrolled riot. The British responded with force. They called in police and soldiers who were ordered to disperse the crowds. In places like Opobo and Abak, colonial troops fired on the unarmed protesters, killing dozens of women. Despite the danger, the women did not back down. Their courage was astonishing. They faced armed soldiers with nothing but their voices and their convictions. Their protest, which the British called the Aba Women's Riot, was known to the women themselves as the Women's War, or Ogu Umunwanyi. The Women's War of 1929 came to an end, but it was not a defeat. The plan to tax women was immediately abandoned, and it was never brought up again. Many of the corrupt and unpopular warrant chiefs were removed from their positions. the British were forced to acknowledge, for the first time, the political power of women in Nigerian society. The impact of the uprising resonated far beyond the immediate reforms. It sent a powerful message across Nigeria and to other British colonies that colonial power was not absolute and could be successfully challenged. Today, the legacy of those brave women endures. They are remembered as heroines, as pioneers of feminist and nationalist activism in Africa. Their story serves as a powerful reminder of the strength and resilience of African women. The Women's War was more than just a riot over taxes. It was a profound declaration of identity, a defense of a way of life, and a demand for human dignity. Their story is etched into the very soul of Nigeria, a timeless testament to the fact that when women stand together, they have the power not just to shake empires, but to build a better world for everyone.